8 days into camp. I think we've been progressing nicely. Scrimmage number 1 this evening. I think it'll be a great opportunity to get out on the field without the coaches there and let the kids play and compete, and also an opportunity to evaluate. So, any questions?
Get a mic to you. Please raise your hand. Start.
Coach, you mentioned 8 days in. Where would you kind of assess where your starting quarterback competition is?
I think it's progressing nicely. I think the battle has elevated the urgency and the execution of the entire unit. We grade and evaluate every snap and chart everything that they're doing. So I think it's headed about the pace that we anticipated.
Brett?
You got a lot of underclassmen that are going to be in the rotation in some capacity of defensive tackle. I know reps are what you want to see out of them, but what do you want to see in those reps that will ultimately decide the snap counts and who's out there for floor?
Yeah, when losing Jeffrey and Braxton and the 3 primary backups, that makes that position one where we've got to reload in a hurry. And with some of the older guys who maybe didn't have a primary role last year, Kendall and Lee, and then moving James Jackson over, and then all the young guys. I think they just need a ton of reps, and inside of those reps, just the physicality of the position, the ability to play the run and the pass. And I think Coach Adams is doing a real nice job.
Paul?
Along those same lines, I know every meeting room has that bell cow, has that leader. Is anybody step forward in that room? Because obviously Lee had been in a leadership role, and then other guys are pretty much redshirt freshmen.
I'd say in a certain sense it's probably by committee, and that's one of the things that we've talked about with the guys that don't necessarily have to have a C on your jersey to be a captain. And I think some of the other guys on that defense side of the ball have picked up the slack from that perspective. But I'd say of everyone, Lee's probably the guy that kids are taking their cues from.
Going back to the quarterbacks, you say you chart every throw that they make.
Yeah.
How easy is it to sort of distinguish between guys when you're just seeing them throw in practice? It's like, how much will these scrimmages really help you determine who's going to be the guy?
Yeah, I think the scrimmage performance plays a role, but not necessarily. It's not the only measuring stick. It's completion percentage, it's touchdown to interception ratio, it's explosive plays created. It's how the team's rallying around you. So there's a bunch of different things, and certainly the scrimmage will play a big part in it. But really, what you want is their body of work to paint a picture, and just like we talked about, our ability to create, improve our pass game with respect to efficiency, explosiveness, while still protecting the football and gaining the confidence of your teammates. And ultimately, like I said, they're both showing that they can run the ball capably. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to which of those two throw the ball the best.
Thoughts on the freshman class?
Ma'am?
Thoughts on your freshman class?
No, very excited about them. I think, like anything, the first few days of exposure to SEC West football was a little bit eye-opening, and not just the speed and physicality of the game, but the relative complexity to the installations and how they stack on top of each other, and taking the information from the meeting room and applying that on the field. But I think from a pure physical standpoint, that they're what we believed in the process. I think we got bigger, I think we got stronger, I think we got more athletic and explosive, and now it's a matter of them getting adjusted to the speed of the game.
How would you describe Michael Johnson, wide receiver, and what kind of identity do you expect out of that group?
Describe Michael as a coach?
Well, his identity as a coach and what you see out of him.
Yes, the first thing, the 2 words I would think with Michael are knowledge and positivity. I don't think I've ever seen the guy have a bad day, and when you've got experience, as a player and as a coach at the collegiate level and in the NFL, a guy coached Michael Vick, a guy coached all those great receivers with the Ravens and other places. I think it brings instant credibility to the room, and I think the adage that they don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. I think Michael's done a real good job forming personal relationships with the guys, and when that occurs, they're willing to go to bat for you, and I think you've seen a more mature group.
Coach, you talked about obviously having to hire a number of new staff guys this year too, but between Tony and Marcus and Joe, you've got a number of guys with former head coaching experience on your staff as well. How much does that maybe help you as a second year head coach at the SEC level, and maybe working through the early going of your training?
And Coach Bronner and Coach Shoup, have been head coaches prior as well. So I think anytime you have an opportunity to bounce ideas off people who sat in that chair, because there's really not a manual for it. You can prepare for being an assistant coach, you can prepare for being a coordinator, and do your best to make all the necessary, kind of put the plan in place, so to speak. But there's things that pop up, and you may have an idea of how you want to do it, and ask one of those guys who have done it. So they've all been great resources.
With the numbers and talent that you lost on defense, how do you keep the defense up to that standard that was kind of set last year?
Yeah, I think Coach Shoup and his staff have done a nice job kind of acknowledging the fact that we lost a lot of talent and certainly a lot of production, but at the same time not lowering the expectation level or the standard with which we want to perform. And I think across the board, you look at the different positions. I think it's kind of a little bit different. A linebacker, you bring both the guys back, two of the top guys, in the country. At other positions, that it's talent that requires experience. So, I think, the base kind of foundation of our scheme remains the same. Coach Shoup's done a good job with, off-season studies and things we're going to tweak and install. So it's not about, in a certain respect, it's not about plays, it's about players. And you still want to hold true to your system, but at the same time, not ask kids to do things they're not capable of doing. So within the scheme, there's enough flexibility that you lose all those linemen. That all right, this is what we're going to do up front or on the second level to try to kind of mitigate some of those departures.
I've got a couple questions about Chris Marv in terms of animation and energy level. Where does he rank among assistants that you've had or any coaches that you've been around?
Where's the Energizer Bunny rank?
Yeah.
So is that a 10?
Yeah.
So he's a 10. I don't know if he still has any eligibility left or hopes of going to the next level, but you watch him coach the kids as an individual, and he's drenched with sweat by period 2, and I think the kids in that room have really adapted his personality, his coaching style, and he's certainly kind of like Michael, very positive guy, pushes the kids, but at the same time, he's done a good job kind of working with them as people as well.
And beyond just energy and what he brings in that aspect, what has he brought as just a football coach? How knowledgeable has he been, and how helpful has he been?
Yeah, I think he's a tenacious and tremendous recruiter. I think he does a good job there. Really works hard in that aspect. But I think I mentioned it before. You do it for enough time, and year 21 coming up, you get a sense of people who have an opportunity to become coordinators or future head coaches. And I think Chris is one of those guys. And like Michael, instant credibility, having played 4 years in the SEC and been an all-conference performer, but he's very intelligent. He communicates well. He has great passion, and he's obviously his relationship with Coach Shoup. So all those things have added up to I think a real slam dunk hire.
You got several guys that either played here right in this town or 5 minutes up the road in West Point or something like that. How unique is that as a coach to have several guys who play such a key part of your team, basically grew up right here? And have you, amongst Willie and Marcus and some of those local guys, have you sensed any kind of just pride in playing for basically the Golden Triangle area, their hometown, home area?
Yeah. there's, you know, when it's very, very few players at the high school level have an opportunity to play Division I football, even less in the SEC, even less in the SEC West, and even less for the team that, you know, they grew up rooting for. And, you know, for those guys to be able to stay at home in front of family and friends and have them, you know, share an experience of their college football journey and, you know, show other kids, you know, around the area, around the state that, you know, have to go anywhere to achieve all your goals and all your dreams. I think that's what makes it special for those guys. You know, to have a parent text me and say, hey, is the scrimmage open to families? And, you know that there's going to be people here from all you know, around the area to support them. I think that makes it good for the guys.
Okay, so you have a group of guys that like to dance. What are your thoughts on that, and do you ever join it?
I won't say I did, but I won't say I didn't either. You can ask them that. Yeah, Dedrick, pretty good. Tommy Champion, Michael Story, Fletcher Adams jumped up the other day. The kids seemed to want Ferge, so Ferge jumped up there and kind of, we started off every team meeting off with music and let them select it, and I usually don't get started until, you know, one of the guys jumps up there and gets going. So it was entertaining. When Fletcher got up there yesterday, the room went nuts. All the kids got out, got the little things out. So it was good. It's always fun to start the meet with that kind of energy.
Owen? Your mic too.
Any update on Kareem yet?
The update is no update yet. We're waiting. We're hammering away. You know, we're exhausting all the possibilities, and so I promise you, as soon as we know, y'all know. He just has some things he got to take care of.
It's kind of on that front, anything on Corliss Waitman too?
Sorry?
On that front, Corliss Waitman, anything too?
Yeah, same. No. Out of our hands. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom in the back.
Just the status on Willie Gay and if he'll be available for the scrimmage today.
He'll be out tonight. We anticipate early next week.
And then just going off, back to the freshmen, who are some of the guys that have stood out to you and have a realistic chance of playing time in the club?
I think Schrader's made some really nice strides. I mean, technically he was a mid-year, but you know he's stepped up his game the past few practices and done a nice job. You know, Lee Witherspoon's getting a bunch of reps at running back, trying to go through positionally. No tight ends. Nick Penley, you know, he stood out with his motor and his physicality. You know, Nathan, DeMonte, Jack. I mean, Martin. Jarion, you know, I could list the whole, at different times it's different guys stepping up, but their reps right now are kind of limited because of depth and, you know, getting used to the speed of the game. But, you know, during the course of 7 practices, they've all kind of had their moments. I apologize to any of them if I missed their name. Come see me later.
Any questions?
You have several players on your roster that are from community colleges in the state of Mississippi.
Yeah.
Kind of how important is that in the development of young players in this state, and how does that contribute to the development of the program here at Mississippi State?
Yeah, I had limited amounts of experience recruiting junior colleges, you know, prior to coming to Mississippi State, but I think it's an invaluable resource for us where kids, and the thing that I've seen that's been the most interesting is, you know, a kid in state will maybe have an FCS or a group of 5 offer, and they'll kind of, you know, bypass that to go to junior college because they have hopes and aspirations of playing FBS or playing in the SEC. So to have so many in the state that are producing great players and are so very well coached, and what it does is allows you, kind of from a roster management standpoint, if there's a hole or a void left in one of the classes, to step in and fill it with a guy that can play immediately. And you know, I think we've been able to do that fairly well so far, and we'll continue to do that in the future.
Questions? All right.
That's it.
Great. Well, Coach,